Welcome to the year-long journey on Cox Campus. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
So glad to have everyone here. All right, so today we are going to again be focusing on Talk With Me Baby. So we are going to be extending our conversations through partnerships with families. So Talk With Me Baby is definitely family facing, teacher facing, even healthcare facing. So it's definitely multifaceted. So we're excited to share with you from an infant toddler perspective. So definitely if you have any questions or comments as we go along, feel free to put them in the chat.
Absolutely. And so that's me. Hi, everyone. I am Crystal. I have over 25 years of experience in the field of education. I truly enjoy collaborating, as I mentioned earlier, with not only Alicia, who's with us on today, but my other colleagues and experts in the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy at the Atlanta Speech School. We love Cox Campus. We enjoy supporting families, educators, and everyone with our practical research-based strategies. And you know what? In the spare time that I have, I enjoy the spa and my family. Take it away, Alicia. Let the crowd know a little bit about who you are.
Yes, so I am Alicia Grace. I am a birth to 5 facilitator here at the Rollins Center. I have been in education for about 6, going on 7 years. And I just love that I get to focus on language and literacy all day. I mean, how rewarding is that my work is able to directly relate to eradicating illiteracy. I'm such a big fan of reading and writing, and I love Disney World. I have gone a plethora of times, and so love it, love it, love it.
And so you all have already done this. We're going to go on.
Yes, but for those that are coming in, if you have not stated your name, where you're coming from or where you're located, please do so in the chat. We would love to hear who is participating with us today. But definitely we want to just highlight our Cox Campus core values. So we hope that this is a rewarding, empowering, connecting, safe, and essential presentation today. We hope that all of those things align with not only our core values, but we hope that they align with yours as well. We definitely value your expertise and we want to hear from you. We want you to speak up and give us your feedback. So definitely always feel free to jump in the chat if you have any questions, comments. We love to hear them. And also today's information is brought to you directly from our Cox Campus platform. It is a 100% free platform for you to use that has a plethora of language and literacy information for families, educators, and healthcare professionals. So please visit www.coxcampus.org to sign up for a free membership.
Yeah, it's in connection with our Talk With Me Baby course today, where we all get to participate and have a discussion about how we are brain building partners together, right?
Yes, I'm so excited.
And so here are a few learning objectives that we want to, of course, walk away with today. We want to support children's language development at school and at home. Right? We also want to explain how the childhood affects brain architecture, how we can use conversations and just the way in which we engage with children to support their growth and development and their language, right? And then, of course, number 3, we want to explore those strategies that will help to strengthen our partnerships and relationships. So let's dig in. I want to talk about the why behind the what as we dig in. And with this first picture that pops up on the screen, you may already be familiar with the national reading levels, right? If you're not familiar, let me share them with you. Let me share a bit of alarming information with you. Our students are performing at about 34% nationally with proficient reading levels. And that information is provided by NAEP, which is the National Assessment of Educational Progress. That assessment is conducted every few years. So the information or the statistics that I'm providing right now are from our 2019 assessment. And actually the 2022 assessment is underway currently. But from 2019, the 2019 assessment, again, only 34% of our children nationally are reading at a proficient level by the time they end third grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. And so some people may be asking, why is there a focus on third grade, right? What's the big deal with third grade? Well, that's where we make that important shift in school, where we go from learning to read. All those prior years are just learning to read and learning the fundamentals and foundational skills for learning to read. But by the time we show up to fourth grade, that is where we, again, go from learning to read to reading to learn. That's where there's an expectation that you already know how to read. So that's when the teacher may say, okay, Alicia, go home, read those first couple of chapters in your book and come back and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. But again, our numbers are telling us that our children are not showing up in fourth grade reading to learn. Wow. So I want to ask really quickly, how might children feel in school, a place that's supposed to be a nurturing environment, a place of safety and learning and feeling confident and all of those great things, if I am not confident in my ability to read and I cannot read? Please drop in the chat for us really quickly. How might I feel? Yeah, it's so disheartening. I agree with you, Corinda. How might our children feel? Yes, scared. Absolutely. Absolutely. They may feel a lot of emotions. Nervous, just right. Just like a lot of emotions, overwhelmed. I see the comments coming in, right? And so yeah, absolutely, out of place. And so we could take that conversation on and on about what then begins to happen in a lot of our children or with a lot of our children if they feel those negative emotions in a place that's supposed to be safe and nurturing and a place of feeling, again, confident and ready to learn. And so you can only imagine what that looks like. But guess what? We have a unique position at the table. Everybody that's here today and beyond, right? We serve as caregivers, educators, those in the in our child's or children's ecosystems or support systems in their lives. And we get to play a part in changing that narrative. Yeah. We get to play a part, and we're going to learn practical strategies today to help change that narrative. So again, these are the key messages. In America, nationally, we're in a literacy crisis, right? I think it's safe to assume that. And there's definitely room for improvement here. And we already said only about a third of our children are reading proficiently by the time they show up to fourth grade, by the time they end third grade and show up to fourth grade. But again, we get to shift the narrative. We get to strengthen our partnerships today and beyond in schools and at home to help shift that narrative. So as we think about that, and as we prepare to discuss that, I want to get into a bit of reflections on the next slide. Our possibilities are endless, but let's look at this, Alicia. I'm so excited to hear some reflections here. And I'm not sure if anyone can come off of mute today, or if we just strictly have to use the chat, but I would love to hear from folks about this. So just think about it for a moment. And a lot of the course, the Talk With Me Baby course, a lot of our discussions today are all about, again, those foundational skills, language, reading, literacy, but building relationships. So think about your childhood, right? Think about your childhood experiences before you knew how to read. Mm-hmm. Who were those important adults in your life?
Yes, guys, put that in the chat, please. Yes. I want to hear from you. Who are those?
Absolutely. Look at the questions, that are on the screen. Thank you for that, Alicia. Look at those questions that are up on the screen. Who are those important adults that you remember, or that you know that come to mind for you? What were some of those positive interactions that you recall having with those individuals? And how did those interactions help to build positive relationships for you? Oh, I see the chat is
Parent,
as
third grade teacher, mom, dad, aunt, grandmother. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yes.
First grade teacher. And Chris, I think it's something so powerful about not only just having those experiences with your families, but being intentional and remembering, like first grade, third grade, those teachers, they make such an impact. And so I just love it. Oh my God, Miss Jackson even had a name. Mrs. Hill, my third grade teacher. I love it.
Yes, I remember mine as well. I'm right there with you all. Miss Curry, if you're out there, thank you.
I'm
Such a love to just the students and being responsive and building, again, those strong relationships with my parents and the other parents of the children in our class. So yes, you all are really dropping your comments in the chat, and we appreciate that. You know, and if you want to keep dropping your comments, we would like to know, how did those interactions impact you? Right? When you think about those positive experiences, how did it help you to see the world differently? What did it do for you? And we'll give a moment for you all to reflect and to drop those comments in the chat for us. We certainly
are posting. I definitely remember in my own experience, just having that positive affirmations, those that confidence builder, those things are definitely important, especially at such a young age. Oh, I love that, Maggie. Unconditional love. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So many great comments, gaining the confidence. I see it, the comments are moving fast, but making us safe, secure, building that confidence, imagination. I saw safety. I keep seeing it. And this is so important. This is so important. And so on that next slide, if you don't mind, Alicia, could you read that slide out for us, please?
Absolutely. So the best thing every adult can do to provide every young child in their life with a strong foundation for lifelong learning so that they can strive for the goals of their own choosing is to talk with them early and often. So, Crystal, I have a question.
Yes.
Does that mean we're supposed to be talking to the babies?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. We can talk with the babies. Yes, yes, yes. Some others were answering that question. Yes, absolutely. We need to not only talk with them, but early and often. And I want to really dive into a formula, if you will, or an equation that will help us to remember why this is so important and help us to remember the basic concepts that are, again, rooted in that Talk With Me Baby course. Oh, Angela, yes, even from the womb. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Angela is ready.
Y'all have us excited. Yes, keep the comments flowing. Keep the comments flowing. And so, yes, we need to talk. But let's look at that next slide and really look at the equation of what will help with that, building those strong relationships and nurturing the baby's brain. So again, we're going to look at understanding the power of conversations and how the brain development plays into that. We're going to look at how we can create those language-centered environments. Again, not just at school, but at home too, right? And then we're going to look at the partnership mindset, and all of that together, we're going to have those stronger relationships, right, Alicia? Like it's just going to be stronger. So I'm excited to dive into this and really, really look at how we all play an important part in building those strong relationships. So right here on the next slide, it really gives us a little bit more of the research, right? We have to know this. If we're going to understand, as the equation says, understanding the power of those conversations, we have to know what the research is telling us. And the research demonstrates that the strongest early predictor of a child's academic success is the quality and quantity of words that a baby hears in the first 3 years of life. Right? So not just the number of words that we're just talking a lot, but what's the quality of those conversations? And you all dropped a lot of the comments in the chat. Alicia, you said it, just those affirmations, right? And just the way in which we engage the child, it makes a world of difference. And so we want to make sure that we're intentional about the way that we engage them in those quality conversations right from the start. And again, language nutrition, the language that we use, it is free. You said it, just like the Cox Campus courses. Language nutrition is free, everyone. It is free. Yeah. And if we are a part of, again, that child's ecosystem, the support system, we get to play a role and a part in building this for children. So let's look at why the first on the next slide is saying,
No, I just wanted to highlight something in the chat. April said she encourages her parents during pregnancy to read books to their children or to their babies. And so I think that goes right into the slide you're about to read. I definitely love that.
Oh my goodness. I love this chat. I love it. You all are on fire. And so this is why it's important. This is why she said what she said. It's because a baby's brain grows 80 to 85% of the size of an adult brain in the first 3 years of life, y'all. Oh my goodness. First 3 years of life. That's a short amount of time, believe it or not, to make a huge amount of impact, right? And so we want to ensure that we are stimulating that brain, if you will, right? To support that growth and development that is happening. And like you all said, it starts early. So let's look at the next slide, because this is what takes me out every time. The next slide really dives into what's happening with all of that rapid brain growth. Look at this. The babies are born with 100 billion, yes, I said billion with a B, brain cells or neurons. 100 billion. And so those neurons actually need to kind of connect and talk with each other to coordinate behaviors, right? And so as it's doing that, it's those coordinating behaviors that relies on the strong brain architecture, right? It's good for the networks for processing language, visual information, the emotions, as well as memory, problem solving, empathy, all of those amazing things. So if we want children to be able to do complex behaviors, such as learning to read, which is very complex, right? They need strong brain architecture. The baby's experiences, and more specifically, the language in those experiences, it helps to drive that synapses formation and strengthen those networks. It actually drives it. It's the #1 stimulator for that brain growth and development. So someone asked, like, do we need to talk to them? Of course. If language and great experiences are helping with that brain growth and development that's happening, we have to not only talk with them, we have to talk with them again early and often, as you all have already said.
Yes. Don't get scared, everyone. I know you're like, talk to babies, read to babies. We're going to tell you exactly how that looks. I know that sounds kind of scary sometimes, but I promise you, it's easy peasy.
Absolutely. That is the power that we're speaking of. When we're talking about the power, understanding the power of conversations, there's the power.
Exactly.
There's the power. We're brain building partners. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm excited. Okay. We are brain building partners, and that is amazing. That is amazing. So when we think about that, we'll look at the next part of that equation, which we can create those language-centered environments. And so what do we mean by that? We're going to give you a couple of strategies or a couple of overarching ideas to think about on our next slide, and we'll dig into opportunities that we have to engage the babies. So here's 2 strategies right here, right? Just being responsive. Right? Having responsive interactions. And when we say that, responsive interactions, that sounds big, right? But it's just the way that we positively respond to the needs of children. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
So to that point, like, we're talking to the babies might not be talking back with us yet, right? Especially early on. They're not, but they can listen, right? And so if they're not talking, they are still communicating with us. What are some of the ways that the baby is communicating with us? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. They're not talking yet, possibly, but what are they doing? How are they communicating with us?
Can't wait to see your ideas.
Yeah.
Smiling,
Oh,
absolutely.
I got it.
And smiles, eye contact, face expressions, laughing, arms out. Yes, kicking their feet. Oh, y'all must have watched the course. I love it. I love it. Smiling, pointing, babbling. Yes, you all have it. This is perfect. Absolutely.
So we have to respond to that positively, right? Exactly. And then you heard us say it a moment ago, not only responsive interactions, but we use good language nutrition. And that sounds like big terms too, right? But just as food nourishes our bodies and helps us to grow and develop, language actually nourishes the brain.
Absolutely.
It's nourishment for the brain. And that language is rich in engagement. It's not only, again, the quantity of the words, meaning the number, but it's the quality of those words that we're utilizing too. And context in order to support the child's neurological, social, emotional, linguistic development, right? Yeah. This is all important. So those are our overarching strategies and concepts that we want to introduce and remind you of if you've already watched that course, right? But let's look on the next slide at the opportunities that we have to engage the child, right?
Yes. So greetings. So thinking about how you greet your baby, thinking about using that high-pitched voice, that motherese, as we like to say, narrate actions. So almost like a sportscaster, right, Crystal?
That's right.
Definitely narrating, using that self-talk, explaining
parallel talk. Yeah.
What you're doing. Yes. Directing the attention, pointing, making sure to point out the visuals as you are talking about the different things in the child's environment.
Yeah.
Telling stories. And this can be verbal stories. This can be stories with books. Definitely getting them to understand that concepts of print at an early age, right?
Yeah.
Asking questions, rich, critical thinking questions that really gets the child thinking. Absolutely. Even at infancy and at young toddler, older toddler, still modeling how to ask those open-ended and those closed-ended questions.
And then here, I love it because we're asking, and with the baby, we're also answering.
Yeah.
So it may feel like it may feel a little silly, but it's not. So that may look like, and you all know, I have my baby right here, right? My baby. And so that may look like, are you hungry? Are you hungry? Oh yeah, I think you're hungry. You haven't eaten since 12. So I'm asking and answering the question, but then that's more language. That's more language that the child is hearing. That's more stimulation again with that brain. So you're absolutely right, Alicia, asking and answering those questions and then soothing the baby too. The way we soothe them and use words to even soothe the baby, encourage soft touch and just talking with that baby as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Love that.
Absolutely. So these are awesome opportunities. Once again, flood the chat. Let us know. Can you think of other opportunities where we can engage the baby in great conversations? If so, drop it in the chat for us.
And also in the chat, you will notice that one of our colleagues, Alex, is definitely posting some of these great resources from Cox Campus. So definitely go ahead and click the links and bookmark them for later. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Teachers and teacher leaders.
I love it. I saw someone say even bath time. Those are different opportunities, routines at home. I love it. Thank you, parents, families, caregivers for chiming in here. Name it for us. These are opportunities that we have, again, not only at school, but also at home to encourage great language, to encourage these positive interactions so that that we're nourishing that brain. And there's, again, just the power of those experiences. Woo! You all are amazing, okay? Absolutely amazing. Now, let's look at this for a moment. And so we've already begun to talk about the ways in which we can use language, but if we're going to use language and if we're going to if we're responsive to their needs, we have to know how the baby is also talking back or responding or communicating with us. So we're going to do a little game with this here, but I know this crowd is already on it, right? So help us out. How is the baby communicating with us? Let's go to the first block. Not yet, but I don't want to reveal the answer yet. Drop in the chat for us ways that the baby from birth to 3 months is communicating with us. What are some ways that they're communicating? And then we'll reveal what the research says. So go ahead and drop it in the chat. Yes, everybody said crying.
Yes.
Yes.
Smiling.
Absolutely. Eye contact, absolutely. Okay, let's see what the research says. Let's look at that. Let's view it really quickly for that slide. There it is. You all are already saying it in the chat. They are actually reacting to those loud sounds. They are cooing. You all said that, right? They will start and stop the sucking in response to sound, right? The eye contact. Who said that? Someone already mentioned it. A couple people looking at things. They are recognizing familiar voices, smiling. You all have said it. You all are on it. What about 4 to 6 months? How they're communicating with us? Go ahead and drop it in the chat.
Turns head to sound, chewing, making faces, crying, smiling.
Absolutely.
Eye contact.
Yes. Let's reveal. That's my drum roll. In case you didn't know. Following this, y'all are on it. Alicia, do they have our PowerPoint notes? I think so.
I think so.
Families in our schools and educators, everyone that you're on it today, reaching for things and people, vocalizing the excitement and displeasures as well. We know that, right? And you all can see the ways. Let's move on to, for the sake of time, to the third block. So at 7 months to, let me see, my slide moved over on me, to a year. Go ahead and drop how they're communicating with us in this age bracket.
Pointing, hand motions, calls everyone mom. Crawling over to parent, drops cup or toy for cause and effect, crawling, pointing.
Absolutely. Let's reveal. Oh, there's the reveal right there. You all are on it. You're on it. But these are a few other ways. They're using the simple gestures, the babbling, using groups of sounds. Absolutely. Someone already mentioned that, the turning, looking, things of that nature. And again, you can see the ways that they're doing that. So again, if they are then communicating with us in the ways that we've already discussed and what you've already listed, then we want to be mindful of how we can remain responsive to those needs. Right? Yeah. Not just, oh my gosh, the baby's crying again, or oh, the baby's spoiled. We hear that a lot, right? But what is it that they're trying to communicate with us through those experiences, right? And how is it that we can respond positively to those needs? Okay, here's another game, myth or fact, right? We're gonna pop up some statements, and we're going to invite you to view the statement. We'll read it out. And then you will determine in the chat whether it is a myth or a fact. Okay. And then we'll follow it up. We won't just leave you hanging. We will follow it up and talk about why it is a myth or fact. So here we go. I think I don't know, this group is hot. So I think they're going to be ready. So here is the first statement, right? Yes. Talking with a baby all the time will spoil them because it means, oh my gosh, they're already firing off in the chat because it means constant showering of praise and attention. I see it. Myth, right? Okay.
Why is that? Why is the myth? You hear that all the time.
It is a myth. You all are absolutely right. But let's again look at why it is a myth. And I want to go to the next slide to be able to explain that. And so it's not about spoiling the baby. That's not what it's about here. It's about, again, those responsive interactions. It's about the serve and return, right? They serve up some of those cues that you all said, and we're returning that and responding positively to their needs. And so I want to play this video, a little bit of this video, and invite your comments and feedback on this interaction between the mother and child. So let's play a little bit of that, please. I don't know that I hear sound. Does anyone, do you hear sound, Alicia?
Vem!
There we go.
There we go.
Vem,
Thank you.
papai! É, amor? Fala com o papai. É. É, meu amor. Vem, papai. Vem falar com o bebê. Fala, sai do boteco, pai. Vem falar com o bebê. Ai, ai, ai. Cadê o papai seu? Cadê? Cadê o papai seu?
That's
Cadê?
good. Thank you so
Vem
much.
conversar.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. So what did you notice about this conversation between mom and baby in their home language, Portuguese? What'd you notice?
Oh no, they said they couldn't hear the sound, but that is okay.
Oh, okay. I think it came up. At first we couldn't, but yeah, everyone's responding now. Okay, very talkative baby, and you could see the connection between mom. Yes, the bonding. Absolutely, Edna.
Very talkative baby. I love it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so again, the serve and return, the turn taking, right? And you can really, what is it? You can tell that the baby and her mom talk all of the time. Absolutely. And think about, again, all of the interactions. I mean, and interactions, yes, but all of what's happening in the brain with that interaction is what I was trying to say. And so absolutely, it's not about spoiling that baby. It's about being responsive. It's about stimulating that brain. So let's go to the next one. You all are on it. The next statement
Babies
says,
don't understand real words, so you should talk with the baby using baby talk.
yeah. And so baby talk is, oh, baby, that's baby talk. I'm wondering, is that what we should, is that what we should do?
I see a whole bunch of myths.
Oh my goodness. Someone said, no, baby talk. I can hear it. I can hear the tone in the message, right? Okay, so let's reveal the answer. There it is. It is indeed a myth. Once again, you all are already on it. And so it's on the next slide tells us why. We want to avoid that. We're saying bye-bye to baby talk, and we're saying hello to parentese or motherese, as Alicia said earlier, or even child-directed speech. There have been many terms for it over the years, but it is actually the second of two major components for engaging baby conversations and language development. The difference between baby talk, though, and parentese or motherese or child-directed speech is the use of real words. So the way I modeled a moment ago, and goo goo gaga and do 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 do, you know, like where I'm not using the real words, that's what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that we are using those real words so that they can hear the sounds of language. So it may look different and say, hi, baby Ella, how are you? How are you doing today? Are you doing well? So it's that high pitch. It's the high pitched tone, which is like that stimulator and connector to the brain, right? There's the short, simple, repeated phrases. We're elongating the consonant and vowel sounds. It's that melodic tone, right? It's still all of the sounds that we were using with that baby talk, but it is, again, the use of the real words. And we want to make sure that we are being a good language model, right? For the
Absolutely.
baby. Yeah. So bye-bye, baby talk. Hello, parentese, right? Okay, the next one. Here we go. Babies can learn more than one language at a time. Talking with babies in their home language will not confuse them, delay their mastery of English or any language for that matter, or prevent them from learning to read by the end of third grade.
Drop
Oh,
your
I
answer
see
in
lots
the
of
chat.
facts. Yeah.
Yes. Fact,
Absolutely.
true. Love it.
Yes, yes, and yes again. You all are on it. You all are on it. You're right. It will not confuse
Done
them.
that. Love it.
It will not confuse them. But let's look at again the next slide to really talk about that. That babies are born citizens of the world, right, Alicia? They're able to discern the sounds of different languages. And some people think that parents or caregivers or educators should expose their babies to the language of that environment, of just English or just whatever the language is of that environment. But we need to expose them to multiple languages and their home language, right? It's just, it's just better if I speak with you in, I'm just gonna say French. You may get oui out of me, just one or two words, because I don't know much French. But if I'm speaking in my home language, English, I'm going to have more words, right? I'm going to, it's the engagement and the conversation, the back and forth exchange is going to be rich because I know more words in my home language. So we want to make sure that we dispel that myth altogether. They're absolutely able to acquire multiple languages at a time. Yeah, the baby's brain is perfectly capable of learning 2 or more languages simultaneously, and it will not prevent them from learning. It will not do that at all.
If
right?
anything, it will benefit them.
It actually has, I was going to say, enhanced executive function. It has some other positive qualities that will help with the child versus be harmful or something that is not okay for the child. So we want to make sure that we are supporting home language. Don't be afraid to expose them. It is absolutely okay. Right. And then we have, again, the cultural and linguistic diversity. We have some pointers on the slide in front of you to let you know, again, why this is so very important. So please, please, please encourage the use of home language. We encourage that not only with the schools, but also with our families as well. Let's go to the next one. I think they're ready, Alicia.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Hearing lots of words through screen time will help babies learn to talk. So getting out that iPad, that cell phone, that TV. What do we think, guys?
Oh my goodness. They're already saying it. Myth
all around.
Absolutely. Yep. And so it is hearing lots of words is important, but nothing can replace human interaction, right? And we know nowadays in 2022, there are a lot of great apps and programs and programming out there. We understand that, but nothing can replace those human interactions. So we want to make sure that we are maximizing those experiences. The next slide tells us why, again, this is a myth, and you all are already on it. You all are already on it. Nothing replaces that. The number of quality conversational terms increase the number of words the babies hear, and no electronic device can replace responsive interactions with human beings. So we want to be mindful of that. And so I want to still, though, on the next slide, really show an example of how we can remain responsive even with technology, because again, we're not saying that technology is totally bad. There are some great opportunities out there, but we want to make sure that we're pairing with language. And many of you may have already seen this video. We'll just play a little bit of it and invite your feedback and thoughts.
I need to work on that, right? Yes, okay. Did you understand it though? No. Okay. All right. Huh? Oh, not this one. This is the grand finale of it. Yeah, that's the last one. That's what I was wondering. I don't know what they're gonna do next season because they did some stuff this time. Exactly what I was thinking.
I think that's enough.
Oh yeah.
As you all know, this was a viral video. I think in the beginning, someone mentioned they could not hear. I hope that the sound did come in a little bit later for us. And I want to invite your thoughts on this. And if you've seen it and if you've seen it prior to the training today, what did you think about this interaction?
Someone said, a great example of a joint attention. Yes.
Do
Having
you think there would have been as many conversational terms if they were just watching the video?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Right. Absolutely. So there are ways to still engage with the baby, that experience that the child had with his father or the caregiver there made that experience language rich, and it had a different turn to it. So you all are on it. Thank you all so much for sharing your reflections in the chat. And so on the next slide, this is where we just get to, I say practice here, but because we're just dropping comments in the chat, I'll just say, well, this will be a recap on this slide, right? Just to remember that we want to encourage parentees or child-directed speech. And again, they'll serve and return interactions with the child and with the baby. And that can be, again, at home or school. And we talked about, again, the different examples or ways in which we can do that. And some of you already dropped in the chat other experiences too at home. Bath time I saw as an example for other opportunities that we have to engage the child in these conversational terms. Okay. And so if I see here in the chat too, that if there is someone that wants to say a comment, then if you raise your hand, then we could unmute you and allow you to share a reflection. So if you would like to say anything or give an example, raise your hand, use the raise your hand feature, and we will definitely unmute you and want to hear what you have to share.
Yes, love it.
And again, Alex has dropped the resources in the chat for you to review from Cox Campus as well.
So I'm just going to read a few comments in the chat. So talk anytime, any place, taking turns, talking, interactions is excellent opportunities for babies to show ownership of love. I love it. Mealtime is a great time to talk. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Great experiences, great feedback. We appreciate it. And so last but certainly not least, we're on the next bubble on our equation, which is all about having the partnership mindset, a partnership mindset. And so on the next slide, it really helps us to start to identify what that means and what that looks like. And so we want to first believe that every parent has the power to help their child. The parent is the first and best teacher, right? And we want to share our knowledge and enthusiasm for language nutrition. We want to increase those responsive interactions between the families and the babies. And everyone, again, can participate. Everyone can participate. And so here's some opportunities on the next slide that we have. And this was noted in the course as well. A few of them here. We want to encourage those educational messages that go home, right? Include those messages in the daily notes or sharing tips verbally during drop-off and pickup times, right? Using technology, the texts, emails, videos, those are different examples. And if you have other examples, please, by all means, drop them in the chat. We want to make use of meetings with the families. We have curriculum nights, right? Where we can talk about the importance of language nutrition. We have open house. We have parent-teacher conferences that we could utilize to build on these opportunities. Build classroom community around language nutrition. We could use boards, right? We have the bulletin boards that we can share those key messages around the school, and also including families in those school activities. What are some other ways that we can maximize partnership opportunities? And then I put in the middle, we want to draw on, again, those families' hopes and dreams for their babies as well. When we're having the conversations, lean into those experiences. The families, the caregivers, they know their child best. Absolutely. Right? So we want to lean on them to learn more about these experiences from the child. If you have other suggestions, please, by all means, drop them in the chat, or like we said, feel free to raise your hand on Zoom, and we will unmute you so that you can share your feedback as well. And if you're a parent, a caregiver on our Zoom today, and you want to share an experience that you had at a school that really promoted positive relationships and positive partnerships, please share that. We would love to hear it. We can all learn and grow from each other.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And yes, Kathy, we will have a version of the PowerPoint that we can share with you afterwards. Thank you. All right, and so as you are thinking about other opportunities, and again, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Then we have a quick video that brings it all together. And this video is from, again, the Talk With Me Baby course. We want to show how we bring it all together. We pass along that language baton from home to school and school to home, where we're always, again, surrounding that child or our children with language-rich experiences. We're helping to build that brain. We're helping to do that all of the time, early and often, as Alicia said earlier on that slide. So let's watch this quick video, and then I want to invite your feedback before we get ready to close it out.
Are you ready to go home? We've got to get in the car.
It's time to go home. Michael has had a really great day. His teacher has filled it with playful interactions and lots of language to shape his brain. But Michael's language-rich day does not end here.
Bye, Michael. You have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be waiting on you. Oh, thank you.
Through a coaching partnership between his teacher, Alicia, and his mom, he is sure to experience a world full of words and loving conversations at home.
Bye. All right, we made it home. Did you have a great day at school?
It's already happening in the car on their way home when they talk about the book Michael read today. Kyla is getting into his world and starting the conversation. Together, Alicia and Kyla are making sure these early conversations happen all day, wherever he is.
Wash your body.
They know that talking with Michael is the single most powerful way they can prepare his brain for all learning that is to come, including learning to read.
I'm gonna clean the toys too, they're dirty. We gotta make sure they get a nice bath too. I'm gonna dry you off. We're all nice and clean.
They know that with every word, they are shaping his brain and his future, one word and one hug at a time. And they know that working together is the way to get there.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that video. And so on this next slide, we just want to invite you, go ahead and take out your phone and hover over this QR code that is on the screen, and it will take you to a screen that will allow you to answer the question, what steps can you take to support early brain development and extend conversations with the child? How can we continue to do that? We've talked about ways that we can partner. You can also drop it in the chat. Feel free to do that. If you can, Alex, if you can copy that Padlet link in the notes section and drop it in the chat. That would be super helpful for me, so that you can go right in and then begin to share your feedback on that screen. And then we could show, let me see if I can pull it up and show your comments. It's a way to zoom right on in and show the comments. Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate you. But again, what are some of those steps? And again, you can drop it in the chat, or you can use the QR code on the screen to write your comment on the Padlet screen to share it. And then we can show maybe on the screen your collective feedback and ways that we can continue to build strong partnerships and support the children. Okay, I see one participant saying that it is not working for you. Oh man. Okay, it was
Right.
I don't know. If not, it's okay. It worked for us earlier. That's technology. We never know. Maybe it will come up later. I'm not sure. If not, we invite your comments in the chat. I apologize for that. That is not allowing us to add those comments there. I apologize. But if you can drop your comments in the chat and let us know ways in which we can continue to support that early brain development and extend those conversations and through our partnerships, that would be great. Look at all of those positive comments coming in.
So many examples. Adding language to activities, routine functions throughout the day. Yes, mealtime, potty time, outdoor play. Great way to extend language.
Yes, being consistent. Thank you, April, for sharing that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so on the next slide, Alicia, you want to take it away with our wrap-ups?
Yes. So really quickly, we're just going to watch a brief video around the language and literacy and justice for all. There we go. So around literacy and justice for all and the work that we are doing to help educators within Georgia's Marietta City School District. And so if we can click the video and see really quickly a little bit of what we are doing with that initiative.
And I love, as we're doing that, the continued comments in the chat.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
I have no doubt. Okay.
No worries. You can always go on Cox Campus and learn a little bit about that initiative as well.
Yeah, the link is right there for us if you want to learn a little bit more about literacy and justice for all. But I have no doubt, Alicia, that with this group today and beyond, we have the power to just strengthen our partnerships at school and home. We have the power to just support our children with their brain growth and development and their language and literacy skills. And it starts by talking early and often. You all are amazing.